Okay, picture this. You've got a gorgeous tropical paradise, right? But it is so profoundly dangerous that almost nobody on the planet is actually allowed to visit. We're talking about an ecosystem that's so perilous, yet honestly so biologically fascinating, that you literally need government clearance just to step foot on the beach. Let's dive into this explainer and check it out.
So that brings us to a pretty massive question. What exactly is hiding on this forbidden island? Like, why is this seemingly perfect haven strictly off limits to you and me? Well, we're going to uncover how a completely isolated environment managed to create something that is both absolutely terrifying and, strangely enough, incredibly valuable.
Because if you were just sailing past, you would have absolutely zero idea of the danger. From a distance, this place looks like your absolute dream vacation. It's got lush green forests, stunning rocky cliffs, pristine crystal clear blue water, the whole shebang. It has all the deceptive, beautiful features of a classic tropical getaway, completely masking its true, deadly nature.
And get this, 35. That is the number of kilometers this forbidden zone sits off the coast of Brazil. Just 35 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's barely a commute for a lot of people. This untouched danger isn't hidden away thousands of miles out in the middle of nowhere. It is sitting right off the coast of a major populated country. It's just a wild contrast, right? Civilization right next to absolute untamed danger. So, officially, the location is named Ilha da Queimada Grande, but to the rest of the world, it's simply known as Snake Island. It's a strictly controlled Brazilian habitat. But, it's not just some barren wasteland of danger. It's actually masking a super rare, highly specialized ecosystem. There is this deeply fascinating story of survival, science, and evolution right behind its terrifying reputation.
Which brings us to part one, the evolution of a killer. Let's see how this all started.
All right, so to really understand Snake Island, we've got to rewind thousands of years. Back at the end of the last ice age, there were some massive environmental shifts. Sea levels began to rise pretty dramatically. And because of that, a piece of land that used to be connected to mainland Brazil was entirely cut off. The island separated, and the animals living there were completely trapped. With literally nowhere to go, the snakes left on this newly formed island had to rapidly adapt to a totally new, isolated world.
And that extreme isolation gave birth to the island's most infamous exclusive resident, the Golden Lancehead. This is a highly unique and intensely venomous species of snake, and because it evolved entirely on its own over countless generations, it exists literally nowhere else on planet Earth. Nowhere. It is a remarkable living product of a closed-loop evolutionary system. And actually, this brilliantly illustrates the evolutionary necessity behind the snake's crazy potent venom. You see, being isolated on this rock severely limited ground prey, so the snakes had to rely heavily on hunting birds that just happened to stop by to rest. But here's the catch. Birds can fly away, right? If a snake bites a bird and that bird flies out over the ocean before dying, well, the snake just lost its meal and it starves. So the venom literally had to evolve to act incredibly fast. It became hyper-potent to drop a bird almost instantly, securing the meal before it could ever take off.
Moving into section 2, internet myths versus reality. Let's separate fact from fiction here. If you spend any time online, you have almost certainly heard the terrifying rumor. There's a venomous snake on every single square meter of the island. Well, let's just debunk that right now. While that viral myth is definitely an exaggeration, the reality's still pretty striking. The island objectively holds an exceptionally high concentration of venomous snakes compared to anywhere else in the world. So, okay, it might not be one per square meter, but the density is absolutely unlike anything you're going to find in a normal ecosystem. It's also super important to clarify the nature of these animals. I mean, the Golden Lancehead isn't some movie monster actively plotting to hunt down humans. Like the vast majority of wild snakes, it actively avoids people whenever it can. Its main focus, as we just talked about, is hunting birds. It is really just a highly specialized predator, simply trying its best to survive in the very unique, very limited habitat it was dealt.
Even so, the danger to humans is very, very real, which explains the entirely practical access rules. A bite from the Golden Lancehead is highly dangerous purely because of that fast-acting venom. And compounding the problem, medical help is miles away on the mainland. So for these completely practical, safety-driven reasons, the Brazilian government has strictly banned all tourists. You cannot just, book a quick boat tour here. Access requires high-level special permission. That means only authorized scientists are allowed to step foot on the island, and they have to follow incredibly intense safety procedures the entire time they're there.
This takes us to Section 3, Venom for the Cure, and this part is fascinating.
Because you have to wonder, why risk it? Well, the scientific value of the Golden Lancehead is just immense. Researchers willingly go through that intense clearance process because studying this rare species unlocks some massive secrets of biodiversity. They go to understand how isolated evolution works in real time. But even more importantly, they are there to carefully analyze those extremely rare venom proteins. By studying how these unique proteins interact with and affect the human body, scientists can actually work toward developing groundbreaking medical advances. In fact, research inspired by snake venoms has contributed to some major advances in medicine over the years. And honestly, this is the ultimate irony of Snake Island. The very proteins that make the Golden Lancehead's venom so incredibly deadly are the exact same proteins actively being studied by scientists right now to potentially create life-saving treatments for humans. The killer could literally hold the cure.
And that leads perfectly into our final section, Section 4, Nature's Delicate Balance. Because of the island's terrifying reputation, there is a pretty common public sentiment out there that sounds a lot like this: the island should just be cleared of snakes. And honestly, it is a completely natural human reaction to want to wipe out a deadly threat for the sake of safety, right? Especially one located just a short boat ride from the coast. However, scientists strongly disagree with that approach. You see, in nature, every single species plays a crucial role in its ecosystem. Removing an apex predator like the Golden Lancehead wouldn't just make the island safer, it would violently disrupt the entire environmental balance. It would ruin it. And that is exactly why Brazilian authorities actively protect the island. They aren't just protecting people from the snakes, they are protecting the snakes from people, ensuring this incredibly rare habitat is preserved intact so future generations can continue to study and learn from it.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? It's that the most dangerous places on Earth are often the most valuable for science. Snake Island is a living, breathing testament to nature's powerful ability to adapt over thousands of years. It proves that extreme environments, even when they're super hostile to us humans, are often the exact laboratories where nature does its most unique and valuable work. I want to leave you with this final thought. Is Snake Island really just the deadliest place on Earth, or is it actually one of nature's greatest, most valuable mysteries still waiting to be fully explored? It completely shifts your perspective, doesn't it? What initially looks like a place of pure terror kind of transforms into a profound reminder of our planet's hidden secrets and the sheer resilience of life. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and keep exploring the incredible world around you.